Hi and welcome back to Dirt Bike Magazine's video series Premix, where it's all two strokes all the time. Today we have a treat for you. We're getting our first chance to ride the KTM 500 Dark Knight project from Johny Weisman and the crew at the Ride Shop AZ. Now, at first glance, you might think that this is just a two-stroke KTM that's all blacked out. But take a closer look and you find that inside the 2020 KTM chassis, there's a KX500 power plant. And Johny just happened to be a Kawasaki mechanic for Destry Abbott back in the day, so you know he knows how to make this thing run. It's got lots of fabrication. Johny does suspension out of his shop. So the suspension is got coating on it. It's all blacked out. The shock is all blacked out with coatings and then has a gold coating on the shaft itself. The fork has a gold coating on the tubes themselves, so it's got a kind of a theme going through this build. Like we said, Weisman does a lot of suspension out of his shop in Arizona. It's got a KYB conversion kit up front and lots of stuff done to the shock internally on the back. One of the cool things we like about this build is the black and gold mixed in throughout the whole build. The wheels, Dubya went through the wheels and did their magic on the wheels. The gold Excel rims that kind of flow into the whole build. So everything was kind of thought about in this build, looks wise and performance wise. The more you look at it, the cooler it gets and the more stuff you see. Like on the clutch side, take a look at the clutch, and Kawasaki KX500s didn't come with removable clutch covers. This one has it, plus it has a billet aluminum case that just happens to be anodized that gold color to go in with the build. So this bike, it is really trick. It looks really trick. We can't wait to ride it. So that's enough talking. If you want all the in-depth specs on this motorcycle, head over to dirtbikemagazine.com. We're gonna go ride this thing. Okay, so we just got done riding Ride Shop AZ Dark Knight build. KTM chassis with a KX500 engine in it. It's a handful of a motorcycle. It's a lot of motorcycle to ride, but it's a fun motorcycle to ride. This bike's set up a little bit softer than what we would normally set up one of these kind of builds, just because the owner wants it a little bit soft and he's gonna ride it kind of off-road more than he is motocross. But this bike has, as you can imagine, tons of power. It's a blast to ride. All the modifications that the Ride Shop did to it and Johny Weisman did to it makes this bike just a blast to ride. The clutch isn't hard to pull in because he's got some cool stuff that he did to the clutch and the clutch arm, and really easy to pull in. The one thing, it's Kawasaki KX500, so it doesn't like to be shifted under power. You got to let off a little bit, shift, and then kind of get back on the power. But that's the nice part about it, is you don't have to really shift this bike very often. You've got to put it in third gear and just go. It's going to take you just about anywhere you want to go. We love when people do these kind of builds. Johny was also the one that built the Husky 500 that had a CR power plant not too long ago. If you want to check that one out, check our YouTube channel out as well. But this bike, like I said, these kind of builds are fun for us. We get to use a lot of companies that we normally build, but we get to use a lot of companies that we normally use, but kind of think out of the box a little bit. And you know, there's a lot of fabrication that goes into these types of things. We need people like Johny from the Ride Shop to have the vision to come up with these types of motorcycles, and then we get to ride them and have the fun and then bring them to you. And maybe these builds, the people behind these builds might inspire you to go out and build a motorcycle and then show it to us. So it's definitely a cool thing. It's a necessity in our industry, and it's fun that we get to be a part of it. This bike, you can't really compare to anything that's out on the market, so it's not like, oh, this bike's great or this bike's bad. This bike creates smiles, and that's what we're all about. So if you want the complete test on this motorcycle, the complete story that ran in the printed magazine, Head over to dirtbikemagazine.com. It'll be in our behind the build section, everything that showed up in our print magazine. And then there's also, we did a 2-stroke Tuesday on this motorcycle on the website as well. So when we get these bikes show up. I'm Mark Tilley, I'm usually the one that gets to ride them. Sometimes I'm a little bit, leery of jumping on a motorcycle because they do have a lot of fabrication, a lot of bolt-on parts on it. With this particular bike and the Husky 500 that Johnny built, you don't want to get off of them. Once you get on them and you start riding them, it's the cool sound of the 2-stroke engine digging into the ground. It kind of overwhelms you, and you don't want to get off these types of motorcycles. It's not always like that, but with these last 2 bikes that Johnny has brought us, they're an absolute blast to ride. And we've been lucky, I've been lucky actually, to be able to ride a lot of, conversions from people throughout the years that are actually fun to ride. Yeah, we do ride some that we just want to get off of, but that's definitely not the case with these motorcycles. If you got a little bit more time, check out these other 2-stroke builds that we've done in the past. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the brand new builds like this motorcycle that we're doing.